Over the last few days, we saw the festive season kick off in a really big way. And for a lot of that, while that also means celebration, a lot of us around us, and you would have noticed this, suddenly have a cough stuck in our throats. Even in our own newsroom, when we look around, every third person, you can hear the sound of coughing, a little bit of water in your eyes. And this isn't just a Delhi-specific problem, as we see the air quality drop in cities across the entire country. We'll take a deeper dive. Usually, we tend to focus at this time of the year in the Delhi NCR problem, the problem that it is. But this year's air quality index also paints a disturbing picture, as we said, in other cities. So if you take a look, for example, at Maharashtra's major cities, Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, they're all seeing significant spikes in PM 2.5 levels. Delhi's AQI, as we told you a little earlier, is also reaching astonishing numbers, and we'll cover what those numbers are for you in just a second. But to tell you a little bit more about this entire issue, to break it down for us, we have with us two experts. And after going to the experts, we want you to also listen to a very interesting discussion we're going to be having about innovative innovations that Indians are coming up with to tackle this problem. But first, to get you the basics, we have with us Dr. Manish Singhal. He's with us right here on the show. He'll break down for us exactly what takes place this time of the year. Dr. Manish Singhal, before we go ahead, you're an oncologist. Why do we have an oncologist discussing this issue? This is usually something obviously people associate with respiratory illnesses. Tell us what you believe is the relevance, the importance of your approach here.
So I think the most of the fear which started with AQI rising and air pollution was the strong link between air pollution and lung cancer. I can just quote one study which was done at All India Institute of Medical Sciences when I was there. The incidence of never smoker lung cancer was 8%, which has risen to more than 32%. Smoking and lung cancer was closely associated, but now we are seeing a lot of lung cancer in never smokers. And that is where the AQI story, the air pollutants, and the PM 2.5, which is particulate matter 2.5 story, unveils itself, and that is how we are here, or I am here.
Okay, Doctor, I want you to tell our audiences, in the last few years, tell us and take us through the numbers. You're seeing patients come in probably. You're seeing that link of lung cancer take place in real time. Who are you seeing are the groups that are most vulnerable? And related to that, the members in your own family, what's the kind of advice you're giving them?
So I think we all are at risk. It starts from the time of birth. We all are being exposed to such high degree of air pollution that we are at risk of not only developing lung cancer, lung-related illnesses such as COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, allergens, bronchial asthma, chronic bronchitis, lung infections, as also heart attacks and strokes. So all this is linked, and this is well placed in the WHO warning list that air pollution is responsible for many of these problems.
Okay, so it's a continuing issue. Doctor, I just want to ask you this. We were actually asking the team that works with us, what are the most common issues you see? And parents, because so many of the team members that we work with, for example, are parents, they have young kids, they were asking that more and more they're seeing, and this is indeed a problem that takes place at this time, khansi hai and wo khansi atki rehti hai. Through this entire period, over the next few days, that cough that you have is not going anywhere. I just want to ask you, what are the solutions to that? We have examples of parents saying that they're giving their kid that mask that you're supposed to wear, for example, but the cough is still coming. What are your suggestions, particularly aimed at younger kids?
So I think the solution is a multi-pronged thing. So I think it is very important that we start avoiding very early morning walks because the air is very dense and the AQI is at its worst in the wee hours of the morning. That is one thing. Of course, masking is one thing. And of course, as you understand, as the particulate matter 2.5 rises, the incidence of viral infections, we keep on getting viral infections in the winter season every now and then.
Right.
So the virus particles, all these particles are residing on that particulate matter. As the concentration of PM 2.5 rises, your incidence of viral infections and repeated viral infections keeps on getting triggered again and again. And that's the reason you have that nagging cough almost throughout the season. You get okay for 15 days and then you become ill again for 15 days. So I think avoiding early morning walks, wearing a mask is some simple solutions that you can do. And of course, I am a proponent of using air purifiers.
Okay, Doctor, we'll get to that in just a second, but I do want to ask you this question. You've just said that avoiding walks is such a big step. I know though, for so many Indians out there, going out for that morning walk is such a crucial part of their ritual. So many of our parents, for example, love to go outside, meet the sunrise. I just want to ask you, doctor, when you say don't go out, for so many it's even a psychological thing. That walk gives them the positive start to the morning. What are your suggestions? I know, before we came on air, we were discussing, and you've often said, do indoor exercise.
Yeah.
But for many, intense cardio is not a possibility. So what do you suggest then?
So I think different localities will have different AQIs, and I think there are apps which are available wherein you can check what is the AQI index on that particular day, on that particular time, and choose your timing of your walks and early start accordingly. That is one thing. And of course, wearing a mask is a simple thing, and we were quite used to wearing mask during the COVID times. So I don't think it's something which is new. So I think masking up, and if you can delay your morning start for walks and exercises, outdoor exercises, by a few hours, I think this can resolve the problem quite much.
Okay, so you're saying, and I just want to ask you there, when you're saying delay the time, what do you mean? Is the suggestion then that the air quality, because, and this is what I want to tell our audiences, for most residents in Delhi, it's been in the very poor region through the day. There is an improvement, but it's a very slight improvement. Are you saying still go out, risk it, it's all right? What are you saying exactly?
No. So what I mean to say is that, as I said, that there are apps which are available. There are apps which are available. You can check the AQI, and not only you can check the AQI, you can also know what is the AQI at that particular time. So there are apps which are available. That is one thing. Masking up is one thing, and if you can possibly delay, then delay. Otherwise, do indoor exercise like Pilates, etc. There are so many early morning exercises you can do indoors. I think I would strongly suggest doing that.
Okay, and doctor, I have to ask you this. This is a question we've all wanted to know. How does an expert like you go about selecting your air filter? So we're going to talk a little bit in a second about different kinds of products that are available, the innovations we're seeing. But let's not go to that for a second. Before that, when you're going out and shopping for your air filter, obviously price is one concern, quality is the other concern. What are you looking at? What are the factors you're looking for?
So I think there are three factors which are there before you select. I think the most important of these three factors is the CADR, which is clean air delivery rate, and the surface area of the HEPA filter. If you have a large HEPA filter and the clean air delivery rate is high, that is a good air filter, and of course it should not consume a lot of energy or a lot of electricity. The last thing is it should not be producing ionizing particles, which some of the air purifiers used to do it, but I don't think so they do it now. These may not be as good because they may be a health hazard in itself. So simple HEPA filter and a large surface area of HEPA filter and a good clean air delivery rate, that is what you should look for while buying an air purifier.
Okay, and you were talking a little bit earlier, doctor, about the correct way to use one. When we were having a discussion before this, you were telling us that an issue you see again and again, especially, sometimes when you're talking to your own family members, air filter is on in one area, but all the windows are open, or some windows are open, or exhausts are open. So there are too many areas in the house that are still open. What are the most common mistakes you see people around you? And I want to know your family members because obviously they're related to you. They're obviously hearing it from you all the time, but these are still common mistakes. What are they?
So the concept is very simple. What you do during air conditioning in the summer season, you close down windows, you close down everything, and that is the time when you switch on an air conditioner. The same concept is for air purifier. You have to switch off your windows, you have to curtain them, you have to seal everything, then only an air purifier works the best. But if your windows are open or there are gaps, then there's no point putting on an air purifier as is the concept for air conditioning. So we are quite sensitized while using an air conditioner, but we are not sensitized while using an air purifier. So you have to actually close down things. The only problem which comes is the CO2 concentration, that is carbon dioxide concentration, rises because there's no air exchange which is happening. So a simple thing to do is you can keep some plants which produce oxygen even in the night time. So that will balance out the CO2 which rises because you are exhaling CO2 and you are inhaling O2. So the CO2 concentration may rise, which can give you some headaches. But still, it is not a carcinogen. PM 2.5 is a carcinogen. It's a cancer-causing agent. And it not only causes cancer, it causes heart attacks and strokes. So I think this is the way to balance it out.
Dr. Manish Singhal, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us your basics to how you go about keeping your family and yourself safe at this season. Okay, I just want to take our audiences very quickly to our other guests. The other thing we're focusing on today on the show, and this is an exciting one, is we're also going to be focusing on interesting innovations that have come up in the country in the last few years to tackle this issue. So you have different inventions that have come up. You have, for example, an air filter or a filter of a kind that can be attached to the exhaust pipe of cars. You have eco-friendly air purifiers that are coming up. The answer that we're looking at today is actually a company called Earth, and we have its founder Ravi with us right here in the studio. He's joining us. He's going to tell us a little bit about how Earth has come about. We don't want to tell you this is an idea that he originally thought of when he was a student at IIT. Many years later now, he's made that a reality. He went to IIT to study exactly this, aerosol science. We'll take a deeper dive into what that is and what this solution looks like. It's one of many on the market. It's an interesting one. Let's go over to him to understand a little bit more. Ravi, let's start you off with the first question. Tell us a little bit about how Earth works exactly.
So it's pretty simple. It works exactly like an air purifier. Your air purifier is a body that has a fan that sucks the air and filter that traps the pollutant. Now your AC also has a body which has a very big fan and a filter which is worthless. And why you know the filter is worthless? Because this is one of the filters and you can actually see through it. So that's how you know they are worthless. What we are doing is we are helping you with the right configuration of filters for your AC, which is this. You can't see through them, right? And that's how you know these are HEPA filters, the best grade of filters out there. And just put it on top like a crown to your AC and get clean air. Your fan sucks the air inside your AC and these filters trap the pollutant. And as Dr. Manish was saying, it's all about two things. One is high airflow rate and second is about large filter area. So your AC works at a airflow of around 700 to 900 meter cube per hour. However, your air purifier works at around 200 to 300 meter cube per hour. You can actually get at just 3,000 rupees air quality equivalent to a 40,000 air purifier.
Okay, just tell us, because we want to ask you a little bit more in terms of context here. There are so many questions around how this actually works. Are you telling us that this one product works for any AC, or do you have to look up, okay, this brand needs, this particular kind? Tell us that. And two, many will ask, but listen, AC takes up a lot of electricity. So we're going to be spending more on electricity costs. That's the catch. What are your answers to both of that?
Right. So first question is, any kind of split AC, now we have versions for window and cassette as well.
Right.
But any type of split AC, just put it on top. It does not depend on the size. So it can work on any split AC. Second part, the electricity cost. So whenever we think of ACs, we think of two things. One is cool air and second is very high electricity bill. But every AC has three mode: cool mode, dry mode and fan mode. So during winter season, you can use fan mode and the electricity consumption will be equivalent to a ceiling fan, which is around 40 watts. Your air purifier consumes around 50 watts. So it will be equivalent to an air purifier.
Okay, that's very interesting. Ravi, tell us, and we haven't done this yet with you, take us a little bit into the story of Earth. So tell us about how the idea came about. We know that you studied aerosol sciences. What does that actually mean? Firstly, what is an aerosol? Tell us that, and then tell us a little bit about the process of ideation that was involved. What did you decide, doesn't work to solve this problem, for example?
Right, so the story started with me being born and brought up here in Delhi, the hub of pollution. But I wanted to study the subject of aerosol science. Fortunate enough to get the best institute, that is IIT Bombay. Under the guidance of the best professors, I was able to study the subject of aerosol science, which is basically more technical word of air pollution, how particles interact in air. One of very interesting examples that I can give is, so a particle PM 2.5, which every one of us now hear a lot, can take days to get from here to here. And that is why these particles keep on suspending in the air, and when you inhale, they get into your lungs and deeper into lungs and cause irreversible damage. So that's the problem with air pollution and PM 2.5 in particular. But as a student, I studied aerosol science, also entrepreneurship. So with research in aerosol, I did a lot of R&D, but with entrepreneurship background, I was able to apply that R&D and make actual products out of it. Did a lot of research, made a lot of prototypes, various for outdoors, indoors, masks. Finally made this very simple yet effective product that is available for the masses to breathe clean.
I want to ask you, Ravi, we were talking about this a little earlier. The fact that air pollution, every year when it happens, we think of it as a Delhi NCR issue. But that's actually a very Delhi-centric way of thinking about it. Your data seems to point out to a different trend altogether, right?
Yeah, it does. Like 50% of our sales come from South India and coastal India. And we were shocked, like why people in Kerala, where the air quality is as good as Paris, would purchase our product. We talked to a few customers, figured out when your house is besides the road, when a vehicle passes, the pollution comes in, and that's why you need an air purifier or something to purify air, that is AC air purifier as well. Why somebody in Bangalore would purchase our product where the temperature is not an issue and neither is air quality? After talking to customers, figured out pollen is a problem which we never thought of, and that's where we kind of validate that this is a global issue and maybe we can go global as well. This Indian innovation can go global.
And I wanna double click on exactly that. When you say this innovation can go global, it's an innovation that already, as you're saying, you know, in India is seeing popularity, rising popularity. I want to ask you a different question, Ravi. You know, around this time of the year, you'll hear comparisons come up, WhatsApp forwards, you know, where people will say, look, going outside is equivalent to smoking this many cigarettes. It's wrong to live in a region like this. We should move out. You hear that kind of conversation. What is your answer to that as someone who grew up in Delhi and chose to come back to solve the problem?
It is a global problem. According to WHO, 99% of the world population is breathing dangerously polluted air. And that's not just concentrated on Delhi, which is mostly a 3-month period. But even during monsoon and during summertime, the air quality is still bad. Similarly, why the air quality is going bad in Mumbai, which is a coastal region? Again, the problem lies with meteorological factors or change in climate, and second is human factors. So first has to be the environmental factors, and then human activities are adding to the environmental and climate as well as air pollution challenges.
So your point is it's multi-layer, but there's no way to escape this issue. You're essentially saying that no matter what global city you live in, climate change is going to fasten this kind of issue becoming a common issue in cities across the world. Ravi, thank you. You've made some excellent points. I just want to tell our audiences your solution is one of multiple solutions out there, but what's interesting about your solution is it's a one-stop shop in a sense. You can attach it to any air conditioner, it'll work and it'll purify the air. For our audiences watching us right now, one of many very exciting innovations around pollution that's coming out of India. Okay, we're going to thank you, Ravi, for joining us. We'll also like to thank Dr. Manish, who joined us a little earlier on this conversation. Let's